Hello everyone and welcome back to the Aristochats podcast, episode 12. Today we're joined by Queensland TO and Pissmas TO as well, Joz. So thanks very much for joining us, Joz.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me.
And obviously have Aero and Ben as usual. How you doing,
Hello
guys?
everyone.
Going all right. It's good that we're remembering the numbers these days.
I thought about it. I thought about it
Is
in
it
advance.
11.5?
Yeah.
Never have any clue.
But yeah, I actually thought about it beforehand. Didn't even have to write it down either. Just stored that in the memory bank. So I got it. So we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things today, but mainly one of the big talking points will be obviously Pissmas has now been and passed. So we'll talk straight away to Joz about that. So how did you feel the event went, Joz?
Really well, actually. Yeah,
happy with it?
Pretty proud of how it all came together. A lot of the minor like TOing details were like still to be ironed out, like closer to the event. Stuff like the after party we didn't organize like properly until like the Monday of the event. And yeah, just a few other things, and there was some worry internally about like whether or not we'd have everything ready. And we absolutely did. We just put in a lot of hard work over like the last couple of weeks, and obviously over the few months, leading up to that point. But yeah, no, it really came together well. And I will say that I think that in terms of how it was scheduled and like how it actually ran on the day, it might be the most on time Queensland major that I've ever attended. Yeah. And the reason is because of the Pisscoin incentive to double your Pisscoin by bringing a setup. So we had over half the people bring a setup.
That's very clever.
And so with that amount of setups, there was only like 2 pool games out of the whole first wave that couldn't be played at the very start. So we could just get every single set playing the whole time. And we just flew through pools. We finished like pretty much all of pools in the first hour, like all of the first wave A, and then the rest of the hour was like friendly/stream stuff that hadn't finished. And then wave 2 was the same thing. And then cruise ended up taking exactly as long as we thought it would take. So it went from like 2 till like 6 or 7. Which it's a long time, but it's cruise. So we planned around.
The format itself makes it
take longer.
Although those side brackets are always the day killers. Like monthly's made to like doubles, getting 4 people sitting down, more people than setups can handle. But for anyone who hasn't been to a major before or haven't been to many, you might not quite appreciate how amazing that is to only have 2 sets to wait on the entire weekend. If you go to a BAM, where they might even have like 64 setups or something like that, but they have 300, 400 entrants, you're waiting 20 minutes to play your first match, and someone rocks up to their game late, and then they're waiting another 5 minutes for another person who just doesn't rock up at all, and you've waited 15 minutes just for a DQ'd set. Then they have to play the next game, and then you can play yours after that. It really, you're waiting around for a long time.
I mean, I entered like quite a few majors when I was like playing Smash actively. Not a single one. I mean, not even majors, monthlies, weeklies. These just don't run on time, period. No. Tournaments do not run on time. You're playing grands at like 10 o'clock at night or something. That's just what happens, 11 o'clock even or later. So I'd like to offer a really big congratulations on that front.
Absolutely.
That's really really impressive. And so was it your idea to offer the incentive, like the Pisscoin incentive for bringing this setup?
I believe it was. That was Pissmas 2 was when we came up with, or it might have been even all the way back at Pissmas 1 that we came up with that idea.
Right.
So for this quickly jumping into the story of Pissmas, I guess, I used to run a tournament series up on the Sunshine Coast called Coastal Clash.
Yes.
And there was about 10 total Coastal Clashes that were run, and maybe like 11 or something, but it was basically 2019 from the start of it, or 2018, I think. Initially ran this Caloundra tournament that Ellis, like Flex, for those that don't know, he run that like really occasionally with like an esports cafe up there. And he knew that I worked in Caboolture and I had TOing experience, like helping run FNS. And so he hit me up and said, hey, I can't make this one. Can you just go run it? So I didn't even know the venue or anything like that. Ellis hadn't even told them that he wasn't going to be there.
How stressful was that?
Yeah. It wasn't that stressful. I'm pretty good with those kind of things. You know, I just rocked up and like, hey, sorry, Ellis couldn't be here. I'm going to be running the tournament today.
And it never ran better.
Yeah, well, it was like, it's a terrible venue, honestly. It was like...
Oh, that was a really small internet cafe.
Yeah, it was less wide than this room. And it was a bit longer. And then we had there was like a little couch area. We had to have setups on the couches.
There was like 2 setups.
Yeah. I think there was like 4 or 5.
There should have been
setups
Pisscoin incentives, and then there would be more setups.
No, there was just no room for any more setups. We had maxed out the setup count at 5, I think it was something like that. Then we had probably like 24 entrants.
I enjoyed those events.
I did as well.
Well, we're talking about this like last week, how I kind of missed like the Smashbox ones.
Yeah.
Where you're like, they're really cramped. Like, it's kind of fun. Like, not about doing it every week, but something to be said for it.
So that led into Coastal Clash. So the Caloundra place shut down. I think I did 2 events at that place. And then they shut down, like every esports place in all of Queensland has always shut down.
Yes.
Yeah. They're just an unsuccessful business venture. But yeah, so that led into Coastal Clash. So I decided, hey, stuff it, I'll just run my own tournament. We did it at some random hall near Maroochydore. Only saw like 15 entrants or something on the first time.
Was the first time a Smash 4 event, or did it start out the gate in Ultimate?
I think it started out the gate in Ultimate. I think all of the tournaments that I ran by myself, apart from maybe one, was Ultimate.
It seems so long ago, though.
I know, because Ultimate's been competitively played as long as Smash 4.
As of this week, or maybe last week, Ultimate has been out longer than Smash 4 was.
Yeah, you stole yourself streaks. That is crazy to think
it's
about.
Evil.
Well, no, people have been bringing this up for the last like 6 months. Like, it's almost now it's here. Now we actually.
If you put like how long someone like Aaron and I have been in this like the Smash scene for, or even get like the Melee guys, like it's actually disgusting because you have like 4 years of Alt, 4 years of Smash 4, and then how long was Brawls around? Like 4 years? I don't know.
Yeah, it was about
6
4
years.
years.
That's just such a insane amount of my life, actually.
But yeah, so we played completely round robin in the first one.
Cool.
Like, we just,
that's
there was
good.
like there was like
well.
10 to 12 people I
Don't
think
see
there.
much
We
of
just
that
played
these days.
we just played everybody. I was like, stuff it, we have enough time, best of 5,
That's-
round robin for everything.
Dream event.
Yeah,
That's so good. Yeah.
Because I was like, oh well, the people that are here, like, let's make it great tournament for them.
They
like,
want
and just-
value from
exactly.
their experience.
And then after that was, I think, the first time that we got Kawana Family Center, which is really the heart of the Coastal Clash event.
That was the playground out back, right?
Yes, yeah. So it was much like maybe like this room plus like 2 other rooms. It was like this preschool that was like a really rundown preschool, probably made in like the 70s or something. And there was like, we'd put like the stream set up in the kitchen.
Oh my God.
And there was like a roller door for like the talk shop ladies and stuff like that. We would like open that up, and so people could like watch from outside.
You had like the outside setups and the inside setups.
Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Cool,
yeah.
It was cute. It was cute.
Yeah,
There was
it
no
cool.
aircon, or I think there was aircon, but it didn't work well enough. So
Raw dog in the heat.
everyone was just sweltering like every time. But it gave that sense of community,
Yes.
and like it was that full grassroots, like go over your mate's place and like get like 15 of your friends or whatever to come over and make that like an event. And that was kind of the vibe. But it fluctuated between about 20 events and 40 events. Entrants. And then eventually, probably like June of that year, Millis was the one that was like, bro, we should name the because we'd also formed our crew Piss Gang at the start, towards the start of Ultimate, which was also his name idea as a joke. So we were playing together all the time, like me, Ari, David, and like Kyle and like Weeb and Omta.
When you were all up at the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, when everyone was up in the Sunshine Coast, I would play with them maybe once, twice a week, at Ari's place, and crews were just starting to come back into the fray. 4-on-1 was still like big. All of their members were coming to every tournament.
Bam.
And I think it was like Ben or Julian or one of these guys that was just like, oh, I wish we had more crews. And I was like, oh, I would really love to do a crew battle. And so I was like, oh, Steph, we should make a crew. I like, talked about it in our Discord. And then we're like, okay, well, Kyle and Tom were like, I don't want to form a crew. It sounds exclusive. I'll only do it if there's a really good name.
Which obviously changes everything.
Yeah. and so, well, the concept was that we would be a very open crew, and like that we would like, if you came to our friendly sessions, that we would just invite you in. Like if you just became our friend, then like that's it. Like you just come play with us a couple times. We don't care. Like you can be Piss Gang. Right. But yeah, Millis was like, haha, Piss Gang. And then everyone's like, ha ha ha, no. But like actually, like what should we be called? And then Ari arced up about Piss Gang. And Ari was like, no, we can't be called Piss Gang. Like that's ridiculous. And everybody loves teasing Ari. So like, because Ari's such an innocent, like straightforward, honest guy. And so when you can find a way to get under his skin like that, it's so much fun.
You punish people for being nice.
Yeah. And so we just kept saying it as a joke, and then eventually it just stuck. And we became Piss Gang. So Millis had the idea, Pissmas. Let's call the December Coastal Clash Pissmas, and I was like, yeah, that's funny. Let's do it.
Okay.
And then the ideas surrounding it slowly got caught up. We're like, oh, we should do something special with this event. And like we floated like a bunch of different ideas for like what we could do that's like a completely different kind of event. And then eventually we landed on Pisscoin, which has been like, a huge success. Yeah. Everybody loves Pisscoin. And so it started as like little bingo chips.
I thought it was Monopoly money.
No, it was bingo chips at first.
Okay.
Or could have involved Monopoly money actually in the first one. You're right, it was Monopoly money in the first one.
I was at the first Pissmas. I vaguely remember Monopoly.
Yeah, bingo counters was at Pissmas 2 when we finally went digital, and that was just post-COVID. So it was the first event. The restrictions had just lifted up enough for us to be like, okay, we can run under like one person per 4 square meters or whatever. And so that's
quite a successful event.
Yeah, well, because everybody was super keen to compete. Yeah. Because they weren't running tournaments in any other state. I think WA was running a couple.
Yeah.
But
Queensland had barely been hit by COVID at that point, so we ended up with like 150 entrants or something.
Really? Yeah. So we had 150 entrants for Pissmas 2. I think that's when we first introduced Piss Bet, which is the digital form, the digital currency of Pisscoin. And so in that event we had like physical Pisscoin that you could like bet against other people, like, oh, I'll Pisscoin match you for like 500 Pisscoin, or I bet you that he's gonna get the next up B or something out of Shield. And then the digital one was just for the stream. And then Pissmas 2.5, we basically just broke away from the physical Pisscoin, and then we've been Pissbet all the way since.
Did you see, I think, that American player Puppy's tweet about like... Yeah. I was going to say, do you ever regret the name that you chose for like that tournament?
I actually like it more and more.
You like it more?
The more publicity like that it gets like that is so funny to me.
It was funny seeing like next to all these tournaments, like, Major League Gaming, the whatever else, really try hard name, and says like Pissmas. And it was ranked like above the tournament that this guy won, like Puppy won, like it was more high rated or something. So it was quite funny to see.
I guess the one part that I do regret about it is that there's no money in the Australian Smash scene, and there is probably no money in the Australian Smash scene because of how casual and shit, like all the commentating and stuff like that. It's all like grassroots, like a bit dodgy, like people swear all the time on comms and stuff like that. So it doesn't really have that professional vibe, and calling a major tournament Pissmas definitely perpetrates that casual, like oh, you don't want to invest in a scene that's like Pissmas 3 is one of our...
It's hard because if you think like maybe you could get it into that more professional sort of space, but it would take like 5 years. Do you start now and sort of cater to that sort of audience and everything if people don't enjoy it as much, if you lose that sort of grassroots aspect? Or do you just say, well, look, it's too much of a long shot, it's too hard to get to that point, so let's just stick with like the grassroots and do what we like doing and having fun with stuff like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've been doing it for 22 years or whatever.
Yeah.
I haven't been,
Yeah.
but the scene has, and money came into the scene anyway.
Yeah.
In a way, in a way, in America, there are legitimate ways that you can earn a living playing Smash, but it's still nowhere near where it should be.
No,
and
not
obviously,
compared to other esports.
Yeah,
it's not even close.
Which is kind of crazy because when you think about it, Smash is one of the biggest fighting games.
Yeah.
Well, numbers
it's the
wise,
biggest.
If not number one.
It's the biggest.
There are so many things. It's like obviously Nintendo has just not been.
Capcom is like literally throwing money at like
not just
they've not
unsupportive, but
they've not been supportive
against
and
it.
incentivized. Yeah, and they've deliberately tried to like remove it multiple times. Then there's the aspect of like certainly kind of like this like cultural issues that exist in our own scene that we haven't really, I guess, dealt with or that we like having that kind of stops like businesses or whatever just getting into the Smash scene because it like sort of tarnishes their visuals.
So I think a really great analogy for this is, and I'll throw this to you guys. What do you think makes League esports so successful?
League of Legends?
Yeah.
I mean, well, they are. I mean, it kind of depends how you define it because I mean they have a huge financial backing, of course. What do you mean before they had any financial backing?
Why do they have a huge financial backing?
I don't know.
It's the parent company, right?
Well,
Like Riot Games. Like Riot Games has put so much money into their esports that they're not making any money off all of their esports ventures. They predicted that they're not even going to make money for like the next like 5 years when they're doing all of their worlds. That's how much money that they inject into.
And why do they put that much money in, regardless of the fact that they don't expect
because when people will play it, then they'll buy skins.
Oh, skins.
Yeah.
Funny you should mention that.
Yeah.
Because that is literally Smash's ticket to
Yeah.
being a worldwide esport.
It's actually crazy.
Is skins.
Yeah. They sold all the Mii costumes and they don't have like a cool like Link outfit. Or
It's
something.
it's disgusting
insane.
as
It's
well
crazy.
because you go onto like these modding websites and you have a look and it's
some
like
of them are sick.
swimsuit pyro.
Yeah.
Like that would sell. That
Yeah.
would sell.
It would sell so much.
I would buy it. It wasn't even like that egregious either. Like it's on my Switch. It's not even like that bad. It's like she's just in like a fairly modest bathing suit. Like it's kind of cool.
It's cute.
You know?
There's,
I like it.
There's like billions of dollars on the
Yeah,
table.
yeah.
Like there's actually so much money on the table that Nintendo is just not willing.
Yeah.
And I think that part of that is probably Sakurai being like, well, the loading screen takes so long already. It's the Switch just can't keep up. Like,
That's how they add 20 more characters.
Yes. Yeah. Need another Fire Emblem character, I think.
Maybe that is the reason though. Like they picked King K. Rool and then they tried to swap the costume and it took 20
Can't see
seconds
my
to
skin.
load.
I mean, it can just be optimized. Like, it's so easy to change it so that it doesn't load everyone's skins. It just loads the basic skin for everybody. And then you hover over a character, you press R, it's like, okay, I'll load the next 4. And it could do it like almost instantly at that point because, you know, it hasn't loaded everything else. It's done loading. So, I don't know. This feels like there's software solutions for this problem.
Do you ever see Smash getting to like, maybe not to like a League of Legends level, but something much greater than what it is currently competitively?
I do, but it absolutely needs to involve Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I think that Nintendo are probably slowly going to come around despite all of this nonsense about
it
Panda.
improves every game. It does improve. Like
It does.
Brawl and Melee, there was nothing, and it was actively against it. Smash 4, they had like even just For Glory was something.
Well, the E3 Invitational, even
Yeah.
they were acknowledging that kind of competitive.
and they
interest
invited
in
some
it.
players and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Ultimate, like there's numerous things like, you know, even just
They-
having like
they even
FD
like them-
stages and shit.
They invited us as well.
True, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, they did,
kind
yeah.
of forget that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Kinda
it
surreal.
does get better every game. So hopefully there is.
And especially on the Switch in particular, they're like, all right, Pokken, we'll get Splatoon, we'll get
True.
1 or 2 other games that I'm forgetting about. Like, they have been slowly, they're nominating the wrong games to be their esport games, but they are actually taking that
Understand,
angle.
like, competitiveness.
They
Yeah.
just never previously did.
And just their general understanding of like game mechanics and stuff like that has improved. I think that Ultimate's probably one of the most healthy games in a way.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely the most balanced game.
They have certainly tried to like even just make the engine like more
And
competitively.
it's
suited.
easily the most appealing game for people to get into.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think so. Just because the skill floor is so low and the design.
Everybody who plays Ultimate is so shit.
No,
right,
but
guys?
seriously, and that translates into improving quickly. And that makes people, if they improve quickly, then it's like, all right, I'm getting somewhere. I'm going to keep going. People like pick up Melee, they dabble in it in 2 weeks, they go nowhere, and that interest is gone. Or so many Ultimate and Smash 4 players like, oh, like Melee is sick, but I can only watch it. So I cannot play it.
I think if you understand the buffering system, then it's like very you can get that. Results.
Melee is incredibly smooth when you get used to it.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter.
Touch on that more. So you think Ultimate is the lowest skill floor game out of the Smash games?
I don't really have enough to speak on 64, but I guess
you
learn your 0 to death and you're like top level player, I guess.
Smash 4 might be like pretty similar, I think, in terms of skill floor.
Definitely has some brain dead
things like air dodging infinitely, like just gives like a lot of like help towards new players.
So you really can't do this into the ground though. We played a bit of Smash 4 the other day. It's like air dodging into the ground, you just die. You can't do it.
It's weird because I seem to recall it being
quite good,
pretty good.
Yeah, but it's
and
not.
And then I did it. Yeah, we did it.
I lost big sets off air dodging, so I never thought it was that great.
But even. No,
I was a Mewtwo
think...
main, so...
I ate those for breakfast.
Yeah. Sorry. I think Ultimate is absolutely the lowest skill floor.
Well, I want to know
game.
why specifically you think that.
There's a few things. It's a game where you're fighting the engine the least.
Least?
I think so.
Wow. Okay.
But so... Like
the buffering system is very lenient.
Yes, so there are things,
but also bad sometimes.
We all have our problems with the buffer system, and it is absolutely flawed. But in terms of just picking up,
but you think if you come into it and you start from,
you're like, I want to do this. The game just lets you do it.
It's very similar to auto combos in like anime fighters, where you just mash the button and you get like a combo, but it's not optimal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The combo
so it's like, I'm running. I want to forward tilt you. You can just do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to
being
stop.
able to do stuff out of a
best
run
change.
is great.
You don't have to perfect pivot.
Yeah.
You don't have to wave dash. You just do it. You press the button, it does it. Or even you are like, oh man, I can't like dash around. It keeps skidding and turnaround animation. Where like Ultimate, you just left, right.
You have to like an extra input.
It just does it.
And
there's no rule around how you have to go about it, which every other game you have to learn the rules and then you play by the game's rules. Which is why, on a side note, why everyone hates platforms in Ultimate, because it's the only thing that still has a rule around how and when you can get off platforms after you've landed on them, where people try and get off as soon as possible, and it's jarring compared to the rest of the game where you can just do what you want to do.
So I do have thoughts on that platform mechanic that I think like not a lot of people know why platforms feel sticky in Ultimate, and the reason is around the buffer system. The most egregious of it is when you're shielding, you shield and move, you drop shield, you try and drop through platform. There's 11 frames of shield drop, then you can press the button to drop through a shield. If you press to drop through the plat, if you press the button before then,
you get like a spot dodge or something.
You start crouching.
That's right. Yeah.
And it doesn't work, and it feels really bad. And it's like it's the same thing for landing with an aerial, and you're in a certain amount of landing lag. And if you try and drop through the platform during that time, it just does nothing. The other thing, obviously, is going over like to the left or the right of the platform, and like you kind of get stuck on the edges.
Yeah, you can't get off. Yeah.
I don't know why that is a thing.
That
it
just
feels
seems
bad
to
too.
happen sometimes.
That's just to do with the game's traction.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get stuck there more easily, and a lot of
the
moves
platforms are one of the worst parts of the game for a game that does let you, as you said, basically let you do anything.
Yeah.
It's weird that they took out shield dropping as well.
It is. I mean,
I don't know why.
I guess it's kind of like what Ben was saying. In a sense, it's like that would be sort of a rule or like a mechanic you would have to learn. It's almost like an advanced technique.
Yeah.
It's not easy in any Smash game. Like shield drop is always pretty hard.
I think more what Ben was talking about with that was like the base, like fundamental
Inputs.
mechanics, not like an advanced technique like shield drop.
But they've culled like
both.
every advanced technique from the game.
Case for both.
So, yeah, they added back directional air dodges, gave us some
It's not an
stuff
advanced
back with
technique though. I mean, wave landing,
No,
I guess
so
you could say.
yeah.
You could say wave
So
landing.
like for example,
Yeah.
that jump cancel up smash, you just up smash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jump cancel, jump tosses, you just throw out of shield. It's just removing
smash inputs
it's removing
to
that
throw faster.
Yeah.
So it still like has depth, absolutely.
Yeah.
But even like
I mean, I wouldn't call that depth. It's just like it's a weird mechanic. The fact that you can
there
throw
is
in two
certainly
different
like
ways.
depth in the game, but
like
you're
I think
right in that
depth to the understanding
Yeah.
of how the game works.
the advanced techniques have been deliberately culled from the game,
Yeah.
which is like not necessarily a bad thing, but I think they needed to give us something in place of shield dropping
Yeah.
to get off platforms easier.
Yeah, but I mean, like replacing. I think that they should have given us wave dashes and made the dashes really good because I really love
I
wave
think it's
dashing.
more options.
Yeah,
more
exactly.
options is good.
But I think that ultimate versus like a game like Melee, with like wave dashing is amazing, but I think that it's way more intuitive to just dash and do
Yeah,
the thing.
yeah,
Like, and
for
it's,
sure.
so it's way. I think it's way better of a concept is to have that rather than just have wave dashing. I
Yeah.
think having like wave dashing is like so much fun to play with the minutia though that it's like at the end of the day
Like,
once you
yeah.
become really good at it it feels better.
Yeah.
Like what wave dashing achieves is really good. What it adds to the game, but actually functionally having to do that is quite poor.
I'm curious.
in
We sort of
execution.
talked about this with Jet, and he was really against like technical skill barriers for doing the thing that you want in Smash games. And I'm curious if you guys sort of agree with that, or if you think that there should be like I don't know, like a barrier on sort of how fast your hands can move, like certain movements or techniques are just really hard, almost arbitrarily. Or if you think it shouldn't
this
be like
is a very
that.
unpopular one, but I like L cancelling.
Oh
in
no!
No, I know.
No,
I know.
wrong. That's awful.
Because
Your dog shit.
Don't
Because-
try and
You guys were
justify it.
you guys were
No, okay,
defending
all right.
tripping like 2 months ago.
No, we've
so
never-
all your opinions are
we've
dog
never
shit.
defended
never
tripping.
defended
Not a single
You were
one
like,
of us.
oh no, but like tripping's not even that bad.
It's
It
not-
only
it's
happens
not-
one
it's
in
not
20
that-
games.
no,
like,
it's not that
rah,
bad.
It's not that bad, but it's still got to go.
It's not defensible.
It's like yes,
Yeah.
it's
It's
completely
not the
undefensible.
worst mechanic out there.
The argument was
I
you
think it's the
probably
worst
like,
mechanic just because of how in your face it is that this is a mechanic
Yeah.
that fucks competitive players and just like and that's it. That's
the-
all.
Well,
It
it's
doesn't
better than
achieve
adding
anything.
DLC.
There's no purpose to its
the thing
existence.
is-
I think the untackable spin animation is
that is
objectively
it probably
worse.
probably is worse. I tell you, I know which one has cost more games. I know which one has lost people more games.
It's untackable.
It's
spin, by the
untackable
way.
for sure.
Yeah,
And no one knew this thing existed.
no, it's terrible.
for
It's so
years.
bad.
I'm
Well,
Because-
even
Because-
just untackable
It's so
text in general,
Yeah.
like you get hit into the ledge. Like, sorry, you were like a pixel too close to the ledge
Yeah.
there, so you just can't take that.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah, yeah.
The-
Or
the argument
Vernon-
with tripping is
Vernon's
like-
Vortex.
Oh, you got hit your head on a corner.
Unless your name is Scoot, you've probably never lost a game from tripping
Yeah.
itself. I mean, you have, but it's pretty rare. But it's awful. It's an awful mechanic. It's terrible. And it's deliberately done. And this is how we say, like, Smash gets better every game. In the Nintendo being, like, sort of competitively minded. They did that to fuck competitive, like,
Yes.
play.
Yes.
And then they removed it. They didn't, so that's a step in the right direction.
If we were to play competitive Brawl, like we would remove tripping. The only good thing about tripping in Brawl is that it stops infinites that require dashes.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah. Well, just get rid of the infinites if we're gonna start modding it.
Yeah,
well,
I agree.
Yeah.
probably.
yeah.
But
Do you want me to justify the L cancelling?
No.
In one second, I will give you the chance. But I was just saying, how many Brawl games have we played? A couple hundred?
Probably.
Have we ever lost a game from tripping?
I don't think so.
I think maybe like 2 stocks, maybe. In like hundreds of games.
I've definitely been put in disadvantage.
Yeah,
from
you get
tripping once or twice,
maybe.
but
I probably grabbed you as Falco or something, and Shane grabbed you off a trip maybe once or
Yeah,
something. But
yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, L cancelling. All right, go.
All right.
We'll you have the floor. We'll be quiet, and then we'll roast you really badly.
All right. So, basically, I don't mind, like removing that execution barrier.
Okay.
Smarter players should win. I think it's as simple as that.
That's interesting.
Better player.
Better, smarter.
Well, because if we're only talking about smarter, if tech skill doesn't involve being better, because you remove the tech skill, then it is just a smarter player will win.
Yeah.
But go
So,
ahead.
and that involves spacing and blah blah blah. But combos.
Does it involve L cancelling? Because
we said
I was about to say.
All right. For starters, L cancelling not that hard. It's not a big deal. It's not the big deal that everyone.
So why are you bringing up the smarter player?
Because combos are no skill. They're boring. They're lame. They're easily, most commonly mistaken to be the coolest thing in Smash. People pick their Lucas and they learn their little 0 to 63 and like, oh, that's so cool. When you're a little cringe little turbo nerd.
He's such
and you don't actually, you haven't learned how to play the game.
What a hill.
You're not playing against me. You're just trying to fish for your little combo and win.
Fish for your little combo.
And especially in a game like Ultimate, even you saw that in Smash 4, it's like, oh, cutscene. Put down your controller. They're doing the little thing. Nothing I can actually do about it, which is I'm a big proponent for defensive mechanics, not offensive mechanics, because you should have counterplay.
When are we getting to the L cancelling?
Anyway,
all right.
L cancelling.
Yep.
While not the best thing ever, for me it just adds that little extra element of like, all right, if you're gonna like do this super free like 0 to 60 on me,
you should have to press an extra button.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, that's your argument.
This is so dog shit.
There's an extra step in the process. It's like, all right, at least you had to do something there.
That's
my God. Pressing the extra button is the something.
The extra something you do is like fast falling. That's the extra something.
No.
I have the...
But you don't have to do that.
It's way harder.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Ever. You literally just down throw, buffer, and there. As Paolo, you've done 6 of them, works. I'm not saying it's a perfect solution,
is it
but I don't mind
off the podcast?
I don't mind it.
Aerial tripping.
Yeah, it's
aerial tripping.
There you go. It'll solve all your Lucas problems.
That's true.
So I feel like...
What percent chance?
It's been a great episode.
Yeah. I feel like I'm the only one who likes fucking tech skill anymore. Everyone
You're not. Tech skill's great.
I wanted to be tech... It's like in... Okay, sorry.
Cancelling is shit.
In sport, it is. In sport, like you can't just be like the smartest like football or something. You have to be you have to be fucking good as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, like my hands are broken and I'm like a cripple. Sorry, okay, but I need you to like lab it
and it's very rewarding.
Make your hands work and be sick with like your movement, your tech skill.
You have strong control over your character.
But I feel like I'm like the minority now.
L cancelling is like the most like dog shit.
It's awful.
Like
so
like
bad.
as in like it's just like. It's
I like
a barrier.
mashing as well.
It's something that you do every single time
Yes,
you ever use an
exactly,
aerial.
yeah.
It's arbitrary.
I think there's one set in Melee history where they were like, Ken was deliberately not L cancelling to throw off the punish timing. It's like one set in history from like 15 years ago. But the thing is,
he was making it worse to throw off their punish timing.
Exactly. Like it's terrible.
The same punish timing would have worked, right?
Yeah,
if you didn't
probably
L
if you just did it. Yeah.
Like if you just L cancel, you can just like use a move faster. So
it's a terrible. It's
like
awful.
a jab or something.
It's bad.
But yeah, media cancelling also I hate. Spikes are one of the most fun moves in the game to use.
That's a
disagreement. Do you like the bottom camera line?
No, dog shit.
No.
I'll tell you. I'll give you an example. Maybe I'll somewhat change your mind. If I'm this is a problem with two framing more than meteor cancelling. But if I'm recovering as like Mario, I beat the ledge, and then Pyro jumps and she down airs me and hits me at 20 or 30%. I think I shouldn't die.
I disagree.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
She hasn't done anything.
You won't die.
She timed the down air. Your uppie is actually really fast as Mario. Did you know?
Mario,
you can time your uppie
it could
several
be any
times.
character. She should not be able to like gimp me without...
Is it worth dying at 20?
No.
You're not going to die to Pyro down air at 20.
It doesn't matter
or
if it's Pyro.
Yeah, you will.
It doesn't matter what character.
Sorry, you got hit off the stage at 10.
I got forward tilted off the stage.
And then now you're up being.
And then she down aired.
You have no option to go high. You have no option to mix up where you're going.
But it's like...
So they timed it perfectly,
but it's like
and you're like, oh,
it's
that's
like risk reward. If you time a move one time well at 20%, I shouldn't die.
Yeah, and so it's the same thing with like combo starters that end up killing. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, you shouldn't die off like a combo at like 0, no.
Yeah, I mean, that's dog shit.
Yeah.
But spikes are sick.
I agree. Spikes are cool, but I agree. Like, you shouldn't die at like 20 to a spike. That was basically like good luck at best and unfair at worst.
You're upset that because I said Pyro. This could be any character.
K-Rook, two framing
with how two
is
framing
terrible.
operates, yeah.
Two framing is
because
terrible.
you go below. like so with most spikes, you're not actually two framing people. You're going below their
It doesn't even
ledge
have to be.
animation.
Like I said,
two
that's
frame.
more
even
unfair.
if you come off stage, if you spike me like level with the ledge at like 20 or 30, I just don't think I should die. I don't think so. Or I don't think I should kill anyone either.
I feel like that at what point
Same
is
way,
it
like
acceptable?
Probably like 70, 80, to be honest.
70, 80?
Yeah, somewhere around there. It sounds arbitrary, but I think it's better.
But I don't know. It has to be pretty strong because everyone's recoveries are so strong. So it's like pointless.
I mean,
if it doesn't
you
kill
could
them,
like
then.
nerf recoveries instead.
Well,
But there are always ways to.
I thought Brawls' solution to that was interesting because in melee, it's like you literally get hit at any point.
Yeah,
you can jump.
Yeah.
Which makes spikes like worthless.
Yeah.
Where Brawl
Meteor's worthless.
Meteors
Spikes are still
broken.
Yeah, spikes are
Where
Hell of
Brawl has a character like the character dependence is a bit whatever, but it's like a 25 frame lockout. After the 25th frame of being descended by that spike, you can jump. So if you're at 0, you'll not go far in 25 frames. If you're at 100, you have reached the blast zone before 25 frames is up.
I got hit
which I think
by
was an interesting.
Yeah.
Ganondorf, I think it was, down there as Ivysaur, and it was like at like 110. Went down, jump, up B to the ledge.
He should be grabbing it.
Well, he was off stage, so he downed me, right?
The
And I
electric
actually
frames
just
are
like
24 frames.
yeah, like 120. So all of that risk that
Yeah.
Ganondorf has
Yeah.
taken, I've just ignored it because it's like Ivysaur is like the best meteor cancel in the game. Today you learned.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, no.
But yeah, look, I guess I have heard this discussion like 3 times in
Yeah.
the podcast. So let's move on. Arrogant, yeah.
God, there was something else I actually wanted to talk to you about. Sort of circling back to Pisscoin itself, and I was talking to Connor last week about this before the podcast, and I was just wondering if you have any sort of like qualms with it being gambling in a sense.
So, do you have qualms with Monopoly?
No.
Do you have qualms with like bingo?
But maybe if kids were playing it in a sense to win prizes, maybe I would. I could.
Why?
I think it could sort of get them on. Like it's a slippery slope argument, which I understand, and I'm not saying I'm against Pisscoin. I'm not, but I'm curious about like the discussion of having like 14-year-olds or whatever on a stream, like sort of betting in a sense, doing the same thing fundamentally without losing money, and having like the reward and the sort of dopamine rush or whatever when they win, and that's basically what I'm talking about. Monopoly I have no problem with. Bingo, as I said, I mean, maybe Monopoly if they were like playing for prizes or something or some sort of money, I don't know, at a certain age maybe.
Yeah, I guess I don't. I think that it's pretty, like whether it's normalized or not, I guess doesn't matter. Like that's an aside. I do think that that there could be an argument for the slippery slope, but I also think that Twitch bits and like points exist. So all of these other systems that are exactly the same thing with play money and stuff do exist, and in a way that justifies my position. But if I was to look at it at a more fundamental level, like as in like more morally, like taking everything out of the equation, why is it okay? And I think that like shielding your kid completely from like alcohol and drugs can actually end up having a negative effect.
Almost always does, yeah.
From like when they eventually get exposed to it in the real world. It's a like you can make the argument for Pisscoin being like a completely no consequences environment to learn about gambling. And it's like it's it's not irresponsible as well. It's just like a fun thing. There's never
You can't get hurt by doing it, at least in and of itself.
Yeah.
I feel like children already money match.
I don't money match children.
I don't money match children.
Yeah.
But I feel like the children probably money match among
their money.
themselves.
Well, that would be a
That's
different
why,
example
yeah.
because they
Because I have
can
a full-time job,
lose
they
money
don't.
Taking
in that
candy off a
example.
baby.
Yeah.
Whereas in Pisscoin they can't lose anything, which I wonder is if you could argue is even more dangerous because they
Probably.
only get the reward.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was an interesting topic. Do you have any thoughts on it, Ben?
It'll be banned in Japan.
Yeah.
No, running out of Pisscoin happened to every child.
That's funny. That's really funny.
Stupid children.
Because every child doesn't understand like
Risk reward.
Literally, the top 10 Pisscoin players I know are gamblers.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
and so they understood that it's a 2-day event. You get out, you're out. There's no like I guess
It's a long
Jed,
race.
Jed is the only person I don't know gambles, but he is broken because he just sat there the whole time on stream betting. So he breaks that mold. But everybody else that I know like has done sports betting and like has history with that. And so running out of Pisscoin doesn't feel good, and it is like, and they don't get to play the game anymore.
Fair enough.
And that does like that is the consequence of like playing Pisscoin. And so I think it does actually teach them like, hey, like when you're gambling, like you can lose everything and then it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, you could argue that.
At Pissmas TO, I actually got second at Pisscoin betting, and I think at Pissmas 3, I think I got 25th by not playing at all.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
brilliant.
So
You could have won a prize.
I could have won a
you
prize.
would have won a
You weren't
prize.
there.
You
I just
weren't
wasn't
there.
there.
Yeah.
That
So
would make a great like sort of anti-gambling ad. Like the only way to win is to not play.
you actually the starting stack would have been like pretty high up there
Yeah.
in the end because it was a 2-day event, and especially when it got to top 8,
Everyone was running out.
like up to that point I had really tried to reinforce like, don't go all in. If you think it's a sure bet, just bet like 90% of your Pisscoin. There's 2 days to play. If you make one wrong mistake on something that you think is a sure bet, then you don't get to have any more fun with it. And it's also just risk versus reward. That extra 10% of your stack that you would be putting into that bet is not worth the risk of having 0 Pisscoin and not being able to play anymore.
Yeah.
And we actually had to do the stimulus check on day 2 because over half the people weren't able to play anymore.
Smashes are bad with money. It's really like a genuine fact.
Yeah, which is not good because they don't have any.
But a bunch of people ended up like getting their money. Like, it was probably like 70% of people had coin by top 8.
Yeah.
And then 20% of people had coin by the end of top 8.
Okay.
Because everybody was going all in, like in the aim to get like the very top.
Yeah.
But if they had been employing the 10% strategy, all of them would have been winning prizes because I think the lowest prize winner was like 100 Pisscoin,
Right.
which was the starting stack was like 10,000.
Jesus Christ. Oh, that's shameful. That's so bad.
So just for next time, I'm not in this betting system that I based Pisscoin off. It's not actually a perfect 1-to-1 match, but one of the other non-matches between it is that in that game you can only bet 50% of your stack at any time.
Right.
I think it is a bit more fun to let people go all in.
Yeah, just tired of it.
What if you had like a revenue per like X amount of time thing? So like every hour you get like 500 Pisscoin or something like that.
I think it's honestly a pretty good suggestion. Like that's an interesting
Kind of like
concept.
how Twitch do their like Twitch points for tuning.
For tuning in.
That is a cool suggestion.
Maybe if you have bet in the last hour or something like that as well.
Yeah.
So then it encourages
You're an
playing as
active
well.
bettor.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah, I like that.
Well done.
I might introduce that. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Can I ask you, what do you find enjoyable about TOing? And why did you start doing it?
I just really liked playing Smash, and there wasn't enough events.
There wasn't enough events, so you I'll just create them myself.
So I grew up as a I mean we can jump into the my history question, but I grew up in church. I'm no longer a Christian, but I grew up in church, and I was a youth group leader from the age of 13, and until I was like 19, 20, I was doing like youth group leading, and so I had a lot of experience with like managing like groups of people, especially like kids, and so I was never intimidated by the thought of like having to manage that kind of stuff. And when I got into Smash 4, so I guess let's take a step back and I'll talk about like how I got into Smash. So I got into Smash at the age of like 26, 25.
And so how old are you now?
I'm 29 or 30 in March. I grew up playing competitive video games. I was on a Soldat clan when I was 12. And we'd play on the Big Pond online ladder.
The Big Pond online ladder, bring that back.
And the games would be like casted occasionally, like, and it was just so much fun, like going to practice each week with my clan. So I fell in love with that. Then got into Counter-Strike Source. From that into Dota and Heroes of New Earth, and then eventually Dota 2. By the time that I was like 24, I was like, oh, okay, my years of, like, and I'd always been really good at all these video games, but I'd never like committed a lot of time to being like, I want to be really good at this video game. I want to be like number one kind of thing. And so then the first shift in that was I started playing Rocket League, and I was like, oh, I really, really enjoy this game. Let's see how far I can take it. And so I like set up like a training regimen for myself. I would do drills every day. I would do a certain amount of matches. I would watch content for a portion of every day. I was unemployed at the time as well. And so, and I became I was like almost champ by the end of my first year. And anyway, in like 2015, I was shown the Smash documentary. I'd grown up playing Smash on other people's console, never owned a Nintendo console until the Wii. And I got Brawl, and I bought a whole bunch of like third-party shitty controllers so that my friends could play. And my brothers would play occasionally with me, but I almost never got to play. But really enjoyed it every time I did, and would always play it at my friends' places. 2015, I watched the Smash doc, loved it because I was so into competitive video games. And it represented like kind of everything that I was looking for in video games, like the community, the rivalry, the like, you know, focus on individual skill and talent that Smash offers compared to the team games that I'd been used to at that point for so long, and the toxicity that comes along with team games. I was never a toxic player. I was always I'd play the diplomat of the team, so it'd be like, you know, you'd be in a 3-man with another 2 random people, and one of them would start raging, and I'd be the guy that would be like, "No, man, like, come on, like,
we have plenty of experience.
Let's just, no, like, don't worry about it. Like, you think he's doing badly? What should he do? Like, explain what items he should buy, and we'll buy it. Like, kind of thing. Like, I would play that card all the time because that was the only way to win games. Because if you let toxicity go, like, spiral out of control, it was just impossible. So anyway, and this is becoming a bit longer than I should make it, but yeah. So when I was like 24, my friend bought a Wii U, and I was there, and I was like, "You got to buy Smash. I'm super keen to play Smash with you." He bought it. I would go over his house once a week, and I would just play it with him and his roommate for like 6-7 hours straight, and I was like intoxicated with like how much I wanted to play Smash. And I would be like watching all of the major tournaments, all of the Melee tournaments, and like Wii U and Melee, and I would just consume content all week, and then I would try and put it all into practice on that one day on the weekend. Never got enough time like to sit there and lab. Like I always wanted to lab, but I was broke as hell, so I couldn't afford my own Wii U. And eventually, about a year after this, my friends kind of got over it. They didn't want to play every week, and I was still fiending for Smash. So I said, I hit up one of my friends. I'd quit church at this point for like 2 years and Christianity, but I hit up one of my friends that I knew from church who had a Wii U and didn't use it, and I said, "Hey man, I really want to get into competitive Smash. But I don't have enough money to buy a Wii U. Do you mind borrowing me your Wii U and Smash for Wii U?" And he's like, "Yeah, no worries." And so I got the Wii U. I had a Procon and a Wii U Classic Pro, and I like looked up like, you know, what controller I should use. I ended up settling on the Wii U Classic Pro because of where the left stick is. It's not like up, it's like down there, and the C stick is also down there. And I created a like completely custom control scheme that like I hadn't used at all before, because I'm like, I'd just been through this with Rocket League where I sat down and I'm like, okay, how do I get good at this the quickest way possible? I'm like, okay, let's like remap all of my buttons so that they're the most accessible. I can do all of the tech in the easiest way possible. And then I just like labbed and played online for 1 week or 5 days actually, and then went to my first tournament.
And placed.
So I won my first set that I ever played.
Nice. That's always good. Yeah.
Against A Dento, who ended up becoming part of Piss Gang. Then I got dumpstered by Jace.
Unlucky. You were not a very high seed.
No. I was 17th seed or something. And then I played Amis, and I think I won one other set.
And to be fair, that's like year 3 of the game.
Yeah,
like, people were good. People were good at the game at that point.
There's always the guys who haven't owned a Wii U and they're just like randomly good. Hot Dog, if anyone knows the name. Yeah. This guy never owned like a Wii and was like one of the best Brawl players in the fucking state. Disgusting. Weird. Yeah, it's annoying.
But yeah, so then I just I came to every single tournament that I could from them because I knew tournaments are where you get good, not get good then go to tournaments.
Right.
And it was about 3 or 4 weeks in. I was at Ducky's. If either of you guys remember that venue, it ran for like
2 weeks. Or
whatever.
It
ran for like 2 or 3 weeks. It was another esports cafe that died.
That was one Ashwolf went back to actually.
Did he?
Came back from America for a little bit.
And
dumped him.
And I knew Jace because I'd like before I went to FNS for the first time, I'd like looked up the Queensland Vaults.
Right.
By the way, I was like, oh, these guys aren't that good.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
I said the same thing when I went
Crazy.
I can't beat any of these guys.
Oh my god.
I got demolished.
Literally watching you and Jace play on Smash. I'm like, I would fucking dumpster these guys.
That's so good. The only person this is not applied to is Ken. It's melee player. Everyone's like, oh, I bit on my friends. I'm gonna annihilate these guys, and nobody ever does. Never happens.
But yeah, and so 3rd week, 4th week in, I hit up Jace and I'm like, hey, like I'm really loving getting into the scene, but I need a training partner. Do you know anyone in Caboolture that might be interested?
Mm-hmm.
And happenstance, Zeno, Zeus, or Neezus had hit Jace up 2 weeks prior to that to ask exactly the same thing.
That's so cute.
And then it turns out he lived a minute away from my place.
Good training partner.
And he was ranked 2nd in Queensland at his peak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, talented player. And
he molded me.
Yeah. You'll stop air dodging very quickly.
Oh yeah. I did not. By the way, it took me a while.
Yeah.
It eventually was just like it was a lot of fun. I would play maybe 3 times at his place for like 6 hours a day or something like that a week, and I would just constantly, like, you know, it was scary to like, you know, even as like a 25-year-old to just like message someone you don't know, have never met, and be like, hey, can I come over your house and play video games?
Play the child video game.
Yeah. And he was just like, yeah, sure, come round.
That's
and then
so cool.
and then I came round and we got along fantastically. We now live together.
Really? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we live in like Hawthorne, Bulimba.
He doesn't really play anymore, does he?
He was coming to Pissmas. He does play with me decently regularly. He's still very, very good at the game. Every time he goes to tournaments, though, he'll like run into a snake or something, like a matchup that he doesn't have any XP in, and he'll just get dumpstered.
Actually, we just need to bring back all of the sort of retired players who don't play anymore. Bring them all back, man. Queensland with like the current crop that they have, plus all like the old, you know,
old guard. Yeah,
it would be so cracked as a state. There's so many like really good players who've played. Like Lumi is another one. Like, get this guy back playing. I know he attended Pissmas, but like getting back actively playing.
Yeah,
that's always been a big frustration for me.
It is.
Every other state has their players that they've had the last.
You were part of the problem. Both of you were part of the problem.
Queensland has so many good players that like, but they're never all active at the same time.
It's annoying.
2 will go, 2 will come. You know.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
So Curtin as well.
Yeah, Curtin's so good. Like, it's Gus.
Yeah.
Really good Smash players. Really good.
Jono, Crimson.
Yeah. Even like Shadru Ari for like the last 2 years.
Ari,
you don't have to like, not even ones who will be like top 10, even just like the mid-level. Like, it's the mid-level stronger, then the mid-level gets stronger.
Yeah.
And, you know.
And there's like 30 good Ultimate players that don't go at the moment, where it's like, if you all went, then they'll be pretty cracked, you know.
Yeah.
So what was do you have a training regime? You mentioned when you have one for Rocket League. Did you have one for Smash?
In a way, I didn't go as in depth because, like, with Rocket League, there's very established drills and like training packs and etc.
Kind of like the melee tech, where like if you want to play Fox, like your triple shines and stuff like that. Like there's a lot more routines.
Well, it's like just like ledge dashing, you know.
Yeah, like that
you
kind
have
of
to just
stuff.
drill
Like,
that.
you just need to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wrote down a whole list of mechanics and stuff like that I needed to learn, and like obviously. The Isol Smash, how to play beginner, intermediate, and advanced videos were actually like really helpful for me.
They're not bad, yeah. Not bad
in
at all.
Smash 4. Like there's a Ultimate version, and Isol's been criticized pretty heavily in Ultimate. But in Smash 4, it introduced me to all the mechanics, and he also lays out like oh, you need to practice this, then you need to practice this, then you need to practice this, and that really helped me learn like pretty much all of the major mechanics in Smash. I think the only thing that I never bothered with was A, perfect pivoting, and B, the fucked dash dance that you had to do as Marcina and like Falcon and a bunch of other characters.
Dance trotting.
Dance trotting, yeah. Whereas like Cloud could just do the Smash Ultimate. Like he was an Ultimate character before it was a thing.
Yeah, I mean, perfect pivoting was only needed for Sheik. The other characters didn't need this.
No, and so I didn't bother learning it.
But it was absolutely something...
You should. But
I played Marth, so and like you watch MK Leo do like perfect pivot back jab, like it was so good. Yeah. But I didn't bother. Yeah. I was like, I am 26. My hands are not going to be capable of this.
And so
turns out they are.
It's actually really fascinating that you've achieved like a really successful sort of competitive Smash career, because this just doesn't happen really. Like you're a really big outlier in this respect, because it's always, and if you look at the people we've had on the podcast, it's always like I played Smash when I was 5 years old, and I've grown up playing Smash. I fucked all my friends, and then I went to tournaments, and then I got fucked for a little while, and then I got really good. And this is totally like someone picking up Smash at like 24. Was that when you first played?
Yeah, 24, roughly. 25,
and then becoming, I don't know, top
10
3 or so in like Queensland different
top
times.
5 recently.
Is really actually very strange, to be honest. Can you put that down to any reason? It's just like being very dedicated, or I mean, you played a lot of other video games at a high level, so that helps.
Yeah, so I think like it's the attitude towards like prioritizing getting better at the game and like focusing on getting better. I'd say that the last like 2-3 years since COVID, I haven't had this as much, but in the first couple years that I was playing, I'm like, okay, I have a free night. I'm going to message all of the friends that I know that play Smash, and I'm going to ask them if they're available and keen for me to drive to their place to go play Smash.
Right.
Or sometimes, like at one point I didn't have a license, and I would be like, I'll ride my bike to the train station. I will catch a train to your place and then ride my bike to your house. Like I would drive to the coast constantly. I lived in Caboolture. The coast was still like 50 minutes, an hour away. I'd constantly drive up there. Like, and I'd eventually I got a full-time job, and I still finish my job, like straight away go to someone's house. I still do this.
I mean, that'll do it.
So like just dedication to that concept, and like not being afraid to reach out and ask people for friendlies. I've never ever like played online as like my majority way of playing. I would say that in the last 4 years I play online maybe twice a year. So I just go out of my way to make friends, to introduce myself to people, and to
hound them to play.
Hound them to play. And then obviously, like, I think like a big part of it is just like watching content, thinking about the game, watching sets, like
always consuming it.
But one thing that I've never done that I think that would improve my play like a lot is like VOD review and stuff like that. It pains me every time I ever watch my sets. I'm like, oh, that was a misinput. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Or like, and then I'm just like, I just feel so bad about the way I played. And
it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. So I don't like doing it. But I absolutely should, and it's like kind of like a shortcoming of mine. I think that I don't, and that I can't push. That I haven't forced myself to push through that.
A common one will people only watch sets that they won.
That's me. So, I'm that person. I
I
just want to see. I want to see what the commentators said about the sick thing.
You have to put me on blast like that. But come on.
Now, you're a good example of a gripe I have with what people say. and I would ask people like Toki, why did everyone quit Smash at the same time, going from
talking to
Brawl
me?
to Smash?
Oh my
4?
God.
Yeah, I thought he was talking to
Holy
me.
shit.
I was like,
Well, I'm talking to everyone.
Okay.
I've just been facing you a lot.
Sorry, what's the question?
So going from Brawl, for example,
Right.
every Brawl vet just quit. They just stopped playing the game. They stopped playing Smash.
No, they didn't.
A lot of them.
Who?
Sorry?
Who?
All of them. Well, at least, all right. By the
No.
time I came into the scene,
Okay.
Who
No.
is Attila?
Listen.
no one played.
Nobody quit from Brawl to Smash 4. People had already quit Brawl, is the difference that you're
Right.
missing here. So you had a select group of players who still played Brawl, and all of those players then played Smash 4.
That's true.
So you had Apollo, Attila did play Smash 4, Tibbs did play a bit of Smash 4.
Shitashi.
Interstate definitely had more of a.
Like,
maybe I
Shia
just
played Smash
underestimated.
4.
Maybe I thought there were more Brawl vets than there actually
No,
were.
because the scene was...
Because there's only
the scene
there were
was
like
dead.
five.
The scene
There were
was
like five
dead.
At the
people.
end of
Like Shia, Kira,
Yeah.
they all played Brawl.
at the end of Brawl, like the only people who were left were like the good players.
Maybe like SD legend like Afro Pony and Vic or something. Like, but they never really liked Brawl anyway. They're all like, I think a couple of those are melee players. Some of them had already retired. Earl moved to Smash 4.
The only people that
I mean, it was definitely more of a Queensland thing
Yeah.
that I felt than other states because they all.
Well,
seem to
can you
have
name
this,
any
but-
players who you didn't?
I mean, I
who
never
made
saw
the
like
tradition?
Blade and like.
He entered a
you know.
few. He entered a few.
Yeah, so I came in like more than a
Yeah.
year after
Yeah,
Smash
okay.
4. So I
So-
think a bunch gave Smash 4 a
mean,
go, then stopped playing after
I
that.
could probably tell you why specific people stopped. Blade was bullied in the scene and stopped playing.
Yeah, right.
Arcades, I think, just got. He played for about a
yeah,
year.
yeah, he was active. when I
He was
there,
active for
yeah.
about a year, and then I think just he was quite old in a sense. He got engaged. Life.
Well, that's what Toki said. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
they all got old and had lives. Like,
Kind
everyone-
of.
and I'm like,
Yeah, and I started playing at 25.
well, that's the thing, because
Yeah.
that always confused me. Because like, I get that to an extent,
Yeah.
but that doesn't explain it. Like,
Well-
you have Mittens. He's 30, or he was
Yeah.
like 28 at the time,
Shitashi.
or whatever. You have Shitashi. You have people with full-time jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me like, oh, I hit 25 and then suddenly I'm just too busy for Smash
Okay.
anymore. It's like, no, like that is not it.
Well,
It's like, and for me, it's like it's how you prioritize
yes.
your time.
Yes.
Everyone's busy, like they have stuff, but it's like, do you have the drive and interest in Smash? Like, do I really want to spend my Friday night doing Smash?
No.
Like, I want to spend
No.
it with my family or my
Yeah.
friends doing something else. It's like everyone has that time. It's
you
just,
can
do you want
always
to make that
time
time
for your
for
hobby.
Smash?
You can
Exactly.
always make time.
Exactly.
Like, nobody's that busy unless you're a fucking CEO of something.
Yeah.
You know, and even then, you probably still can. If you're asking me specifically, there's a whole bunch of reasons why I stopped playing.
Yeah.
I stopped playing because it was like a 40 to 50 minute drive. I didn't have a license. I had to get the train, and it was inconvenient for my family to then pick me up, so I didn't want to do that. I really disliked Bayonetta in particular. Cloud was also not fun. That was another reason I moved away from the game. I couldn't be as good as I wanted to be with the amount of time I wanted to put in. So I was happy to practice.
I think that's a big thing for a lot of people.
I'm very competitive. I really don't like losing if I'm taking something seriously. So I was like, I can be good. I can probably be the best in the state by playing somewhat infrequently and doing a little bit. But I want to be a lot better than that. I want to win these tournaments free, and so that would require a level that I'm not willing to put in at the moment. And then I had issues with certain people in the scene who I felt like didn't like me. People even nationally I thought didn't like me. So there's a couple, and I think you'll find with most of these players, it's not any specific reason why maybe certain Brawl vets didn't move over.
Yeah.
There are specific, like there are reasons for all of them individually,
Absolutely.
you know.
Because to me, just coming into it, I'm like, oh man, like where are all the Brawl vets? Like,
Yeah.
For me, it's like I love Smash. Like if a new game came out, I'd just keep playing the
well,
new
there were
game.
there were like three
And-
for you. There was like Jace, myself, and Shitashi, basically,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and like Kanu
Yeah.
for a couple
In a
months,
sense,
and I was
yeah.
like, there has to, like there
Yeah.
must have been like
The scene was
20,
the
30 of
scene
these
was-
guys, you know.
There was
But
like
no,
there was
it
like
smaller.
11-man tournaments.
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
end of it.
So I think it was both a
I mean, it was the same for Smash 4.
yeah. Well, I would say there's a lot more retention of Smash 4 players.
I think
coming
so.
into Ultimate.
But it looks to
Yeah,
be for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
In a way.
Even now, like 4 years later, you still have plenty.
Maybe not as a percentage. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe because the scene is big.
Yeah.
I want to say it's like 95%
New people
Ultimate
at
players.
this point now.
Maybe more,
Yeah.
honestly.
A really interesting phenomenon, at least in Queensland, is all of the Ultimate newcomers have quit. They've come and gone.
That's interesting.
COVID, I think, was a big part.
That was definitely a big part, but I feel like you've seen that a lot less in other communities.
It is fascinating. Like the top Smash alt players in the country basically are Smash 4 vets. I was thinking about
Yeah,
that the other day.
that's
You
true,
have like
that's true.
Ghost, Jono, Strix,
Yep, they
DD.
still are
They're
at
all
the top.
Smash 4 vets,
Yeah.
which is kind of surprising. to be honest.
Which brings us to the point that Dags brought up, and that is that, because we are losing players like yourself and you and Arrow.
Did he say this on Twitter or something?
No, this was on the Dumb for Real podcast, Big Cheese edition. They did an open forum podcast where they're or asking people questions from the venue, and Dags went on and did a 30-minute spiel about how he hates the state of Queensland at the moment, and he thinks that. I think the whole argument boiled down to basically that we've lost almost all of it. If you look at the top 15 players from the first PR of Ultimate, and then who's still playing now, I don't know if anyone is.
Right. Wow. Really? So that's severe.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So because of that, because we lose huge pillars of skill like yourself and Jace and you even Shaddy, Ari and whatnot that are more new wave, we've lost all of them as well
every so often.
And so I think that and we've seen this with players like yourself and Shadra and stuff like that come back, and our players like Jix and Bro 1 and our top echelon is still
very strong.
really strong.
Good,
Like Jix is one of the best players in the
threat,
is a national threat. But one thing that we don't have, I think, is that huge backlog of experience, with the especially when talking about the neutral. I think that Vic's neutral compared to the rest of Oz is insanely better. They're and that carries their mid-level so much further. Their mid-levels neutral is way better than ours, but our punish game and our tech and stuff like that is all fine. We can Queensland can. There are quite a few players who aren't super proficient with that stuff, but at the same time, mostly everyone's really good at that stuff. It's when it comes down to neutral that I think that we really aren't as good, and that's because when we have all these top players that have left, and they don't,
whose strengths were neutral, from Smash 4 and stuff
exactly,
even Brawl,
and Brawl as well.
Victoria's kind of they've got those top players who all played Smash 4 and they're all top level, so they have that strong neutral, but they also play all of these really campy characters as well, so Game & Watch,
slower, definitely slower characters,
Young Link, all of these characters, and
Link.
you can't just run at them and pretend that neutral doesn't exist, which is a big thing in Ultimate, right? In this mid-level, you've got a lot of people kind of just running.
Out-button each other.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
which I'm finally learning is not good. I'm finally learning.
So
it can work.
It can
it's in
work.
moderation.
As the correct character, I think as Fox Peaker, certain characters you can do this in certain matchups, but it's a bad habit to form. But can I ask you, how did you end up quitting Smash, and how did you find it again? Because I talked about why that happened with me.
Quitting Smash was I kind of lost interest in it, so that was one thing, and then Bayonetta came out and I lost to Lumi's 2 hour old.
Dude, you've mentioned this 5 times.
I know
this tilted you.
It was such a
slap in the face.
Losing to a 2 hour old Bayonetta
after you beat the Wii Fit.
After I beat the Wii Fit,
losing to a day old Min Min. It's the way I felt.
It's just the same.
This was what's his Onigiri's Min Min. Not even not a top 20 player as well. This isn't Lumi. This is me, who was 10th or something, losing to, he wasn't even top 20. He was 30th in the state, and he comes and just demolishes me with Min Min on the first day, and I was just I don't think this game is the same game anymore. I think he's that was the most salty I've ever been. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's fine. I agree. It's very similar. It's a very similar vein. Min Min is such a knowledge check. You need to know what angles you can approach from
in this game,
and all of this kind of stuff. Bayonetta was I've hit you and you've died, because I'm playing Bowser, right? Bad matchup. You get hit, you die. You go to the top blast zone. Do not pass. Do not collect $200. And so that was well, the game is unplayable unless I pick up a new character. So for the rest of Smash 4, I played like Palutena and like one amateur bracket.
Yeah.
Like that was
And
my
then-
Smash 4 career after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And-
then Alt comes out, and you put in how much work would you say into Alt when it came out?
I put in a lot of work into Ultimate, but
The Wolf was pretty strong.
I don't know. I could never get like the results. Like so many like Ultimate drew so many more like players that it was hard for me to compete with like a lot of this new
Right.
like talent, right? And with Ultimate being like low skill floor as well, like these newer players were able to, you know,
Get
play.
results quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They were able to play like their level 1 and
Yeah,
you know.
you had
Yeah.
like Spammage get top 5 in 9 months for the game being
That
out.
shouldn't happen.
Where it's like
Yeah.
that is unheard of.
Yeah.
In Smash 4, that was unheard of. You
Yeah.
you could play the game for a year and a half, 2
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
It's like, all right,
Well, we were talking
I've just
about
cracked
this.
VR.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty
It's
huge.
like you-
And the
It
Brawl
doesn't
Vet's still
matter
above me.
how. I actually gave the example of Didi, who we've said is like the most talented Smash player in the country. We said if this guy had not entered a tournament and then he comes to Queensland, but he's played Smash and he's like good or whatever and he's talented. He comes to Smash, like a Friday Night Smash or a Guff or whatever with like Jason and I and other Smash 4
In
players.
Smash 4.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how talented he is. This guy will fucking lose for months on it. Like that's just the way it is. Doesn't matter. Like the sort of the talent or how fast you can press buttons, you will just get eviscerated by like Jace.
Yeah.
Which kind of didn't seem to be the case in Alt. I don't know really why that is. I think it does have things to do with like the game is more accessible because you don't have to sort of. I guess in a way you're right. You don't have to like sort of learn to fight the engine. I don't know.
I mean, I think I just like the way that they changed aerials
Yeah.
and shielding
Yeah.
really changed
Yeah.
the game, and
Yeah.
and because the neutral from Brawl to Smash 4 is definitely different.
Yeah.
But still revolves a lot around shielding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
and spacing.
Yeah.
And spacing, and then I think that this game actually has a huge thing, like because of the way that they nerfed shield drop, but also buffed every single aerial in the entire game, and nerfed projectile damage on shields in like the second or third patch. You couldn't play neutral in the same way that you could in 4 and Brawl, and
Yeah.
you could new players could get away with pressing 3 buttons on your shield in a quick succession,
Yeah.
and you trying to shield grab. And I think that was really like
Yeah.
the difference, is that all of that experience was actually detracting from your ability to play neutral, because you're trying to play it in
Yeah.
that same way,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
shield
yeah.
being the
For sure.
primary focus,
Yep.
the way that you're playing neutral. Whereas in Ultimate is really all about movement and spacing. So
Yeah.
before it was about shielding and spacing, now it's about movement and spacing. And yeah, like the best way to beat an aerial now is to just dash
Be
back.
away from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't interact with it, yeah.
Don't interact
Whiff
with
punch
it
it
at all.
or something. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a side, this really randomly sidebar from me, but like I don't know how you guys feel about this. I can't abide the fact that like jabbing something out of shield is just so much worse of an option than like nairing or up being or an up smash even. Like why is my jab out of shield slower than up smash?
Yeah.
I hate this.
Yeah.
Just parry.
Yeah, I just random like little bit from me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I really that is something
like
I
it,
really
yeah.
dislike that. Like
But
I should be able to,
I
like,
really like the boxing and brawl.
Yeah.
Going on. Wolf
Yeah.
kind of
I
broken,
should be able
but-
to forward tilt like out of shield or something.
Yeah.
And it just feels
Yeah.
like it's like a frame fucking 40
Yeah.
hyperbole, but it's like so
You
bad.
just can't do it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's like parrying, I guess it was like their solution
Yeah.
to like that
Yeah.
feeling of like being stuck in shield.
Yeah.
Like, because now you parried, now you have access to every single one
Exactly,
of your
yeah,
moves. And that, you guys have talked about parrying being a shit mechanic just because it doesn't give you, like you guys like the
I
concept
think they
of
actually
it,
both like it. I think I've
but
never
that you
I
don't
like
like,
it, yeah.
you don't like the little reward you get off
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I agree that it should probably be something more like 5 frames, but I don't think it should be like 10 frames,
No,
because I
no.
think that the big thing is that it skips 11 frames of shield drop.
Yeah.
So in reality,
Yes.
it's kind of like 14
That's
extra
right,
frames,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
So like but to access something like an F smash
Yeah.
or whatever. So I think it's like it needs to be a little bit more punishing, like cloud backering your shield, parrying it, still no true punish, doesn't feel good.
No.
But at the same time, as a Lucina, I could probably actually just down tilt.
Yeah.
Like, because like I have enough range to reach.
So on that, we wanted to talk about the differences. You're a resident Lucina player.
Yeah.
The differences between Marth and Lucina, because we've had this debate a bunch of times, on camera, off camera. What do you think? Where do you think Marth rates in comparison to Lucina?
So I think the Marth is significantly worse than Lucina.
Okay.
Like I don't think that he's unplayable, like at all. Like I think that he's but it's kind of like people have these tier list discussions, and I think that the bottom like 40 characters is just like, it's almost a pointless discussion to have, because all of them at any one point you're like, well, if you just look at their tools in a vacuum, they actually have a broken X, Y, Z move. K-roll. K-roll's a great example of this.
It really is, yeah.
Where K-roll has like a decent matchup against Lucina.
Yeah.
I feel like K-roll's untouchable sometimes.
Yes.
I love listening to when you guys like talk about how good K-roll is. I'm like, I agree so much. I fucking hate K-roll. But in like looking at it from a unbiased perspective, I think that you could say the same thing about Lucario, who I think is like bottom 3 in the game. Yeah. You probably can't do it about Lucario, to be honest, but like Lucario's moves are actually bad.
Outside of like the bottom like 5, maybe 10, like every character is just so good.
So good. Actually, they're insane. Like I talk shit about like Kirby all the time, but like you fight a good Kirby, he's fucking you up. Yeah. Like
I hate Kirby so much.
Yeah.
He also ducks everything, which is really irritating.
Yeah. But and so I guess like that's not it's not congenial to talk about like where they are.
Yeah.
Like conducive to like good discussion. Sorry, but anyway, Marth and Lucina, I think it's the differences are really illustrated well with down tilt and up tilt. And then we can talk about it more in general. But as I said before we were on the podcast and we had a very quick discussion about it, F tilt is Marth's only move that is better than Lucina's.
It is
equivalent.
Significantly better though.
It's not. Yeah.
You're gonna need to explain why it's not.
Okay, so it's not because F tilt for Lucina, so at first I actually thought Lucina's F tilt was like kind of bad, because it's actually like negative 24 on shield or something. It's it only does like 11-12%, and it doesn't net you any combo.
It's a big move though.
It's a big move, and what it does is net you advantage.
Right.
And that advantage is better because you don't hit them as far. So it's your gateway. It's one of your biggest gateway moves into setting up an edge guard scenario. And actually, because of the angle that it sends at, it sets up for high-low mix-ups on people where like, so if you send someone like far down, but not very far, they can immediately get into a spot where they can up B back, and like you have to like try and 2-frame them. But if they're off stage and at this like mid range, then you get to play the mix up of, I'm gonna cover your low, and now I'm gonna double jump and get your high, and you're gonna double jump into my back air. Whereas Marth sends a little bit further out, so it's hard to like immediately put them in that pressure situation. Marth's F tilt is just better though, because it kills.
Yeah. The
Lucina's
tip is also very lenient.
It's the most lenient of any of his moves. I think it's because of the way that it flicks up from the ground.
It starts here and the tip is actually like here.
Yeah,
and then it just like extends out. So if they're on top of you, you'll tipper. And if they're at the max range, you'll tipper. It's just like this little spot in between. But the fact that you have a tipper right at the start of the move is like really valuable.
Yeah.
So the Lucina thing basically boils down to you forward tilt them, and you have that opportunity where it doesn't send them far enough that you can either frame trap or you try and like go for like a follow-up kind of thing. Right?
It's just the position that it puts them in, which can lead to a kill.
So what about Marth's forward tilt when he doesn't tipper?
It doesn't send far, like it doesn't send, it doesn't put you in enough hit stun to create that situation. They act like, if you don't hit a tipper, they're actionable before you.
Yeah.
So
they just like slide along the ground.
It
would depend on the percentage.
Yeah.
I mean, it obviously depends on their
percentage.
percentage.
They didn't slide across the ground.
At low percents.
At low percents, they do.
At low percents.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so Marth's F tilt is better, but it's really illustrated well with down tilt and up tilt. And we'll first talk about down tilt because I think that's the most egregious.
I mean, yeah, hers is like insane. Yeah.
Like, so obviously, Marth's tipper one is slightly more safe than Lucina's, which is the spacing at which you would down tilt. So that's actually a positive for Marth in general. But the problem is getting the hit. Because if you tipper down tilt someone with Marth, they go into a tech position from like 40 to like 60, which doesn't put them in any risk of dying to a tech chase. Maybe on like a perfectly tipper F smash read, it's possible. Yeah. But that's actually like a pretty short window.
Yeah.
You hit them with non-tipper down tilt, it doesn't send them into a tech situation until like 120. And at that point, it's very far. They can hold up and they won't get put in that tech situation. So either, and that illustrates like everything that's wrong with Marth is that it's not just that he has inconsistent tippers. It's that in general, he hits a tipper, it sends too far for a follow-up. He hits a non-tipper, it doesn't put them enough hit stun for a follow-up.
Okay.
Whereas Lucina is like, it seems like the character was designed to be Lucina, where Lucina's all of her moves combo into like the next like move like perfectly. You hit an up tilt, you get a true up air or a bear or another up tilt. As Marth, you can never like. I think there is like a 5 to 10% window where you can like get another thing like, but after that it's completely gone. And like it also doesn't tip well on the ground. Like it only works well as an anti-air. Like it works a little bit better than Lucina's as an anti-air at late percent. At mid percent, you want Lucina's up tilt anyway. It doesn't send as far, but it has more hit stun. And so you're putting them in a situation where they need to jump, air dodge, or attack. And you're immediately putting them into like the proper juggle position rather than so far away that the person can react to you jumping at them and then make their decision.
Yep.
And the same can be said of like nair, forward air. Down air I think actually isn't so bad with Marth, but you don't get there are a lot of setups with Lucina where you get the non-spike hitbox and it just true combos into stuff. Marth doesn't really have that until like really late percents.
I'll pay most of that.
Yeah,
I'll pay that.
And yeah, so it's up tilt and down tilt I think is like so significantly worse because Lucina, she's down tilting you from 70 to 130, and you are going to die a lot of the time that you get down tilted in those that huge 60% window, whereas Marth just doesn't have it at all. And it's like one of Lucina's easiest way to kills.
Yeah.
If she's not edge guarding you, she's gonna down tilt you in that percent range, and you're gonna probably die. And that's how I get like 40% of my kills.
Right.
Like yeah.
Do you have anything you want to say on that?
I'm just like thinking about like the down tilt thing. So like when does I played against a Marth a while ago, and they were like down tilting me and getting the tipper and just like killing me with like down smash off that.
So like you again, there is a range at which it works, but it also, because it sends further, if you do stuff like tech away, there's no true follow up at all.
And I guess if you're holding down or down,
if you're in the corner and you can't tech roll, that's not an option. And he happens to have down tilted you at the perfect spacing. I'm not saying it's completely unusable.
Does it have like a different angle? Because I'm like thinking, right, like the way that Super Smash Brothers works is that moves have angles, right? So I'm assuming that Marth and Lucina have the same angles on everything, almost.
They do, yes.
So when you hit someone with a move, your knockback is scaling based on their percent. So Marth's, the knockback will align up at some point depending on the percent, which isn't probably not a good, like great explanation, but there must be like a certain point where these percentages.
He would still have it like,
no,
but in a smaller range.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying is that the range at which tipper sends into that perfect texture scenario is like 40 to 60. Which is not the same as kill percent.
Okay, right.
But
right.
Lucina's one is in that sweet spot of anywhere between 80 and 120, or it's even greater than that, really. That's setting up for a kill.
Right.
Like, whereas Marth's is just setting up for a tech chase in a smaller window for both of them.
Okay.
And, like, neither of them will kill. Like, because it generally sends further away before they actually get.
Unless they, like, roll into your forward smash or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tipper. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you get tippered at 60th on ledge, you'll die, but that's pretty infrequent, like not very consistent. I mean, there are definitely some more moves of like Marths that I think I would take over Lucina's, but to not get bogged down with the conversation, but the tilt one I fully agree with. Like, all that makes sense to me. Obviously, like the up tilt and down tilt, like hugely beneficial for Lucina. Like even just what percent does up tilt kill at for Lucina, basically?
Like 130, 140.
Yeah, that's about like a nice tool to have in and of itself. That's like having like a straight up like just a better kill move for at that percent when like your setup stop working for the most part is very, very relevant.
It's a big move.
I mean, it's just having that extra kill move where like the setups don't work. It's like, imagine if some other character, like you just had another move that like a good move that just kills now at 130 when your setup stop working. Like it's a big deal.
What about Dancing Blade?
Marth's Dancing Blade is better in a lot of ways, I think. So I'll take back the F tilt as the only one, just because it does set you up for being able to kill like early-ish with it.
I think if it
good...
tippers, it does kill pretty early.
It can, for sure.
From
maybe
it's like 90, 80 at ledge. Like it's pretty cooked.
Good,
Like, but Lucina's one is better in like neutral and stuff like that because it does more hit stun on your shield.
Fair enough,
and like it's the upwards one sends into a better spot. The upwards one became huge in the meta, like a Lucina meta, maybe 2 years on. Everyone uses the up one because it's only negative 26 compared to negative 37 or negative 55. If you use the bottom one, it's negative 55.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's bad.
It's
that's not
it's
good.
the
It's
third
very
up
bad.
one, isn't it? That's the best one.
Well,
like 1, 2, and then up 3, and then that's the
no. So you do down. You do down. The up is on Roy Crom.
Okay.
Down is on Marth Lucina because what happens with if you do 1, 2, 1, 2, 4 down.
They do the little poke.
Yeah, they do this.
Does that still spike?
No,
Spike didn't matter.
it doesn't spike.
And
Yeah,
Brawl
it did.
did, yeah.
It was sick.
Yeah.
I wish they
Bring that
brought it
back.
back. Yeah, but yeah, no. So Lucina's one and Marth's one will like do this, like, and they'll like weirdly like move their body. Sorry, the mic.
People you're listening, he's contorting himself.
Yeah, they'll. She gets really low to the ground, and then she like slivers back, like and then it's actually ungrabbable.
Right. Oh, okay.
If you do the third one, and then so it just trips people up all the time. It's very punishable still. It's like the third one down
but
is
like
still
you'll try
like
and grab it or something.
negative
it's just not
22 or
there,
something.
And
Yeah,
then the opportunity score or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
If I may briefly discuss up air.
Yeah, like Lucina's
does-
being like way better. Yeah.
Does up air combo into things?
What have you ever watched a Lucina play?
No, I haven't.
Perfect response. Perfect response.
That's rude. I feel like we've been at the same tournament a
I
lot.
think we've played.
Yeah. Up air is a best combo move, like by far.
Okay.
Like, it's like
So
it's
is
definitely
Marth's
her best
kind
combo
of
move.
like the same thing where it doesn't have enough hit stun on the sour
yeah,
spot?
yeah. But it's so. But Marth's up air is so good at comboing that Marth absolutely still gets combos regardless of
Right,
which one that he
Yeah.
gets.
I was just thinking because we recorded clips the other day for like a video we're making, and I definitely like randomly just I did like up till up air, back air, and it was like for sure true.
Yeah.
Marth for sure. Yeah, but we'll move on from that. I'm glad to get the perspective of someone who actually plays the character.
Yeah.
Because we've been all debating. None of us play any of these characters. We're just eye testing it, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm playing into Marth and a friendly. Like, I'm getting tipped an awful lot. I don't know, man.
60% tipper rate.
One of the, because we're kind of running out of time, but one thing I really wanted to touch on was you mentioned that you wanted to talk about our jaded perspective. I think in respect to the podcast that we host now, and also possibly just being like maybe as retired players or being Smash 4 vets.
Yeah, so this is something that like it's been in the scene since I've joined in Smash 4, and it was a very upsetting thing for me joining in Smash 4 because I talked about before how I was fiending Smash all the time. You know, I really wanted to play Smash. I really loved Smash. I was just getting into it. And I remember it so vividly. I was at my first Fight for Flight. This was like Fight for Flight 3 or something like that. And I came up against Omta. I'd never met him.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never met him in my life. And we sit down to play, and I'm like, oh, what character are you going? And he's like, DK. And I was like, oh, Mewtwo. And he's like, oh. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I guess he doesn't like my character. Like, I'm like, that's fine. We play. He wins 2-1 the whole time, just being like, like about everything that I was doing. And he wins.
Yes.
And he's just like he just turns to me. He's like, good game. And then he said something like, what a dog shit game, right? And I'm just like, this cunt just beat me.
Yeah.
Like, and
talking 40 to kill you.
Talking shit about the game and my character,
yeah.
and it just beat me.
Yep.
Like, and it was just the most, like, he was just so disinterested, like, in everything that was happening. Like,
And that carried into Ultimate as well.
yeah. And that was the state of Smash 4. Was just everybody being like, God, this game's so shit, right? Don't I have such a great take that this game is so shit? Like, oh, Bayonetta is terrible, air dodging's too good, or whatever. Like, there's just a lot of negativity that goes around for the amount of people that actually love this game.
Yeah.
Like, these people who, like, say that they hate the game, but really what they're talking about is that I am annoyed that I was cheesed by, like, some frame data thing, or like I lost because of like
rage or something.
Something like that.
Like, why are you still there every week?
Yeah.
If you're complaining about
like,
it.
It's a known mechanic of the game. It is not the best mechanic, but it's not. You are well aware of it. So when you die to it, that's just an expected part of the game. Like, what are you complaining about at this point? Like, it's not changing. Like, the complaining is not achieving anything.
I think it's a coping mechanism.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a good one.
Yeah,
but it is.
But what it like? Okay, so like I get that. It's a coping mechanism for like feeling okay about the way that your results
it's absolutely got to go. Like,
but it's like terrible for the community's perception and for new players who are just getting into the game.
And
like,
it drags everyone else's mentality down too, even if you are enjoying it, and you know.
If you want to get better at this game, or any Smash game, and everybody's talking about how dog shit the game is, you suddenly lose your drive to get good at it pretty quick.
True. I think it is tough though. I mean, there are no mechanics of the game and stuff, and things should be expected sometimes, but there are certainly like ways, and this isn't just an old thing, this happened in Smash 4 as well, where you can like lose games, and it's just that the meme, it's now a meme that we've been saying forever, it's like better player lost.
Yeah.
And it, even as the one who does it, sometimes it feels like shit, and it is hard to like. It's very hard to sit there, outplay someone, lose the game, and then say, "Oh well, that's the game that I play." Like, and you should. That's the adult thing to do.
I do.
It's fucking hard.
It
like
is,
when you just body someone and they hit you with like Falcon side B with rage, kill you at 40, and you're just like, "Good game." It is hard to do that. So
it's really hard to do.
You're completely right. Like the toxicity that was like super present at the end of Smash 4. A lot of that, I think it started with Bayonetta. I think it started there, and then once it was like allowed to happen with Bayonetta, it just like happened with everything else. It's like, oh, we can do this. We can talk about like the game and the characters like this. Oh, fuck DK, fucking ding dong, you're dog shit.
Yeah.
Like Rage, you're shit. You know, everyone's fucking bad. The game sucks. I don't know, because like I think venting can also be like healthy in a sense.
I
but
think venting should happen in private spaces.
Yeah. And this should never happen to the player you just played against.
No.
Never. That's just so not on at all.
Yeah. The player you just beat, you're venting about how shit, like how annoying their character is.
It's very disrespectful.
Yeah.
It should also not happen on stream. Commentators,
commentators.
that's probably the worst one, actually. Commentators doing this when you're like having people tuning in to watch the game and you're sitting there ragging on it, which you see so fucking often. Even now, professional alt commentators like doing it. It's so bad. I'm not even like talking about Queensland, like people being paid to commentate the game, sitting there at a major ragging on it. I'm like, bro, you need to get the fuck off. Get the fuck off the mic. You're so disrespectful. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it becomes part of the public discourse on Twitter as well.
I mean, Twitter's been so bad for this.
Yeah, and that I think just perpetrates this like this glorifying of shitting on the game,
complaining,
that just brings everyone down. Everybody thinks that they're cooler for complaining about the game, and that they'll fit in socially if they complain about the game as well. Which really just hurts people's drive to actually get good at the game.
It's actually so like refreshing and such a like a shot to the system when someone loses and they get on Twitter and they're just like, oh man, like I played super well and that guy played really well and GG's. It's like not sarcastic. I can't remember who did this.
I just don't tweet. But like I would say that
it was Didi did this recently. He lost to someone.
In America.
No, at Big Cheese. He lost to Big Cheese. He lost to whoever he lost to. And he's like, man, I think I played like fucking shit hot. And yeah, great event. And he got like 4th. And I was like, that's awesome. That's so good. Like no complaining, nothing. Didn't talk about Steve or whatever. I think he lost to maybe 2 Steves. Maybe lost to Ghost. And didn't say a word about it. Just said, I played great. They played great. Great event.
Was it Didi who said something about Korea? It was
Didi
negative.
was in Korea.
Yeah, I think he might have said something.
He said something negative, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well, he's not perfect, Eric.
No, he's not.
I know.
I think he lost a kept villager.
Yes.
Maybe he learned something from that
I think you guys talked about this last week, but the Vic salt tweets and rages and stuff. Like it's.
Is there any way to like fix this, or is it like is it an overall mentality, cultural shift that needs to happen, or is it like are there rules that we need to like implement?
No, it's a top-down thing. I think that people who set culture just need to like set the right culture, and that's something that I've like gone out of my way in the Queensland scene to do, is to perpetrate getting cheesed, like getting fucked, and like just like laughing, turning to the person, being like, "Good games, man. You're a piece of shit. I'm gonna get you next time." like doing it with a smile. Like you can talk as much shit about it as you want, but you got to look them in the eye and you got to smile. Like because then they know that you are frustrated with what happened in the game, but you are not frustrated at them.
That's true.
And you're not frustrated at like it doesn't collate the feelings of like your character and the player.
Yeah.
I can't remember who used to do this. Someone was really good at this. Someone I used to play in Smash 4 and I would like beat them and then they would just turn to me and be like, that's such horseshit. Oh, that's so crazy. And then get into another game. But you can do that. You can do if you're just like beaming, you're just like, hey man, well played, but that's like that is so bullshit. Lol. It's kind of fine.
Actually,
but yeah.
And I mean, I think that the older that like, you know, we've got like a lot of the players in Queensland and I think Smash in general's age is like aged up from like when I joined in 4, it was like a very like early 20s game, and now it's like feels like a lot of people in their mid 20s are playing, and still all the kids, but I think that everyone's a lot more mature about the way that they handle their situations now, and that's contributed a lot to the health of the scene.
Right.
So yeah, and I think that's why like I think Mars talked about it before. He's like, the Queensland scene is really easy to get along with, and I think that's because we do have players like me and DFS and Larry and whatnot, like who are mature people, who are like late 20s, who have great mentalities,
right?
Like who will cop a loss and just smile, give them a handshake, say well played, regardless of the fact that we're all like, I can't believe I fucking played like that, or like I can't believe this person won like that. Internally, but never letting it affect the relationship with people. Yeah,
it's a big one. And how do you think our podcast does in this respect? Do you find that there are issues with jaded opinions or negative takes on the whole?
Yeah. But you guys have been getting better. I literally think that the first couple episodes, you hadn't played Ultimate much at that point. Like, in a while, and your general opinion on Ultimate was still it's dog shit compared to 4 and Brawl.
Might still be. I've come around to it. There are a lot of things I like about it, and honestly, the more I have these opinions on games, the more it frustrates me, the more I play them, because it's like, this could be so fucking good.
Yeah.
But it's
it
the
could
same.
be
It's the
better.
same
It's
in
the same
Smash
for
4.
every
It's the
game.
same in Brawl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Probably the only one that's not is kind of Melee, to be honest, which is like a happy
Melee
accident.
could be a lot better.
Bro, I mean, it could be, but it's
get
like
rid of L cancelling, get rid of meteor cancelling.
that's what you see. Circle back around to the top.
yeah.
Yeah, but like, you remove tripping from Brawl, it's so much better. You get rid of Infinite, you get rid of Ice Climbers, you nerf Meta Knight, like, it's so much better.
Yeah.
All this sort of stuff. Same with Smash 4, you remove Bayonetta, you tone down Rage, all this sort of shit.
Give us a training mode. Like,
Yeah, I mean, don't even get me started on that.
Yeah.
Maybe in the 3 Smashes down the line, they'll give us a training mode that actually lets us like improve at the game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll
That'd
get
be
one
nice.
eventually with a combo counter.
Maybe they'll just
works.
like hire,
That's crazy.
one of the people who makes like the
Then
mod
they'll
pack
patch
that's
that out. Like,
completely
sorry, that was a
insane.
mistake.
Do you use the mod pack at all, like the training mode?
You have to have a Switch that you don't mind taking offline forever. So no, I don't use it. Yeah.
You don't have to take it offline forever.
Yeah.
You can just like disable when you go
The
online,
mod when you
basically.
start
Yeah.
it. But if they find out, then
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
it will
the
be,
new
yeah,
perma
yeah.
ban.
I'm
Right.
pretty sure there's something you can do that like hides your
can.
Switch
There are
from
like you can-
Nintendo.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't say the name of it, but it's out there.
Cool. All right. Well, maybe I'll look into it.
But I mean,
because I do
that-
have an
that-
original Switch.
That product is like, I mean, not a product, they don't sell it, but it's amazing. It's so
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
and it's frustrating that we have to go and mod the fucking Switch to get that, just to
know.
improve with the game. It's annoying.
And EB Games denying the purchase as well.
But yeah, so I guess like to sum that up, there's like a lot of things that could be better about Ultimate or about Smash in general.
Yeah, for sure.
But I accept the game for what it is.
You have to.
And I love
You
the
have
game
to.
for what it
Mhm.
is, and I love the players that play it, and so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make people feel bad
Yeah,
about their
true.
passion or like their character or whatever, just because some things are unfair.
This is what your close friends are for.
Everybody's
anyway.
well aware that it's unfair. You get hit by Rage in Smash, like a Rage ZSS up B in Smash
can
4
die
4 years into the
zero,
game,
die
and
zero.
you're still gonna
Yeah.
look at your opponent and be
Yeah.
like, I can't believe that just happened. It's like, no, you fucking have seen this happen
If your name is
1,000
If
times.
your name is Nick McKenzie, you might
Yeah.
still do it for you into the game.
Yeah,
Well, that's why you had people. It's like we all have the same character select screen to choose
Yeah.
from. Like
Exactly.
if you have
Yeah.
such a problem with it, just play that character.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. You're here to win.
But it's no skill. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to take home the money. So
Yeah.
I'm going to win the event. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. But thanks so much for joining us, Josh. That was there's a few other topics I wanted to cover, but we've kind of run out of time. But we'll have to get you back on. I won't get you to say whereabouts do you live, but like, how are you close-ish?
Balimba.
Okay.
Yeah, not far.
Yeah, not far. That'd be good.
15.
We have numerous people we want to get back on now. We got quite a long list, so maybe we'll get them all in one day.
That'd
Get
be
'em
good.
Like that would be good. Yeah.
Rotate them.
That'd be
Yes, a 20-person podcast
Exactly.
will be so good.
cool. Yeah, I'd watch it.
Round table.
Yeah, with Ben on the drinks talking about Samus.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Over the top of 20 other people, you can just hear Ben. Nobody else.
Do you have any socials
yeah,
that you
I was
want
gonna
to
say.
promote?
Jaws_Queensland. Go see my Yeet boxing tweet from today.
Oh, it's fantastic. And I think on behalf of hopefully Queensland and hopefully the rest of the Smash community, thank you so much for doing all the TOing. I mean, this
Thanks.
it's such a big thing that is so necessary, but it's not always the funnest thing. It's not always easy.
No.
Someone has to do it, and really appreciate that. And also putting on the spectacular event that was Pissmas, which did run fantastically, and it was a really good event. I watched basically the whole thing. So thanks so
Yeah,
much
it
for
sucks
doing
that you guys didn't come down. Did you? Were you
I
there?
did.
Yeah,
I zeroed
you were
too.
there. Yeah. That's right. You left.
If you
Yeah.
knew that he's 0-2, that was great. Did you come to the event? I don't recall. Didn't see you deep in the
But
bracket.
yeah, I mean, on Pissmas, I do want to shout out a couple people
Yeah,
quickly.
please.
Obviously, Jet for running the stream, Blurry and BD for everything that they did with helping run the tournament, seeding the tournament. They did so much, behind the scenes as well. All of Piss Gang, but especially I want to shout out Kyle Weeb, who, in the lead up to Pissmas, was really busy with his teaching stuff because he's 3 years into becoming a teacher. But when he turned up on the day, Kyle doesn't like the game. Kyle doesn't like playing Ultimate at all. But he comes to Pissmas to make the event fun for everyone.
Right.
And he just goes out of his way to be like, he sees someone who isn't like participating in like Pisscoin or is like slightly left out, and he'll go up to them and he'll say some funny shit, and he'll be like, do you want to like, you know, double or nothing? He'll open his briefcase like that he's been carrying around and like make a dumb bet with them. Like, and he went out of his way constantly over that whole weekend.
It goes a long way, that sort of stuff,
to just include people, and I think that's what the spirit of Pissmas is all about. Is like, it's not a tournament about who's the best Smash player. It's a tournament about every Smash player, about celebrating the community that we've built, because the community isn't built just on the top players. It's built from everybody that's in the scene. And that Pissmas represents an opportunity for everybody to get involved and everybody to have fun and have everyone have a chance at winning a prize, regardless of how good you are at the game. And that was the concept of where Pisscoin and like Pissmas comes from. And Kyle makes sure that is like his top priority, is to make people feel included. And so I really love that. And then shouts out to Sage, Sarah as well for all the art, James for the video that he did with Sifo Claws, Boing Boing for those that don't know James. It was great. Thanks to everyone for pitching in.
Thanks so much. We're looking forward to the next one as well, and all the other tournaments you're going to run in the future. But until then, guys, signing off. Thanks so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.